right. Welcome, everybody. Welcome back to Pure Cringe. I am Maria McQuaid. I'm here with my friend Michelle Barchikowski, and we want you to join us as we hop into the hot tub time machine and head back to the glory days of reality TV. We're going to talk about Project Runway Season 1, and I am super excited. Welcome, friends. How's it going, Michelle?
It's going awesome. Episode 5. There's some fun things in here.
Yeah, it's called Model Clients, which should instantly
Yep.
terrify you.
Oh yes. There's
Mm,
injuries, there's drama, there's lots of good things.
yeah. If there's a trip to the hospital, I'm 100% in.
Yep.
This has been a lot of fun. I have to say, I'm enjoying the competition element of this and the
Mhm.
elimination element of this, and more the time we're being able to spend with our new designer friends.
Yep. Yep.
Like
For sure.
we're getting to know them a little bit more. Some of them I don't love. Some of them I'm even more deeply in love with.
Gotcha.
So before we jump in, let's just go over our predictions for this week. So do you
Mhm.
remember what your prediction was in terms of who was leaving?
Did I say Nora?
You said Kevin.
Kevin. No, because Kevin had a pass.
Oh, no, no, no. That's right. We both said Nora.
Yeah. Did we both
We,
say
bo-
Nora?
we
Okay.
both said Nora.
Yeah.
Because I wrote me, Nora, and then you, same. And then I was like, oh, does that say Kevin? Nope. Same.
Same and Kevin looks very similar
When,
on paper.
from this distance with these glasses that are 4 years old, as we just spoke about, yes,
Yeah.
yes. So, here's the thing. I feel like every time we start a new episode, we always start at the Atlas Apartments. And
Mhm.
I'm always reminded of how unsexy this is. It must have been very different 20 years ago because I remember thinking that things like this or like the real world where 12 people were in one apartment, I always thought that seemed super fun.
Uh-huh.
Now,
I
when I
never
look at
did.
it,
Yeah, I never did.
yeah, you were always smarter than me. I always thought that seemed like fun. I think also too, because I don't come from like a big family either. So it was like a situation where I thought, oh, wouldn't it be fun to have like brothers and sisters around? I don't think it is. They don't look very
You gotta
comfortable.
pick up everybody else's shit. I mean, I'm the type of person who'd be picking up everybody else's stuff. That
You'd be Austin.
and
You
I'd
would
be
be in this
losing my
scenario.
mind. Yeah,
I feel like you are Austin. You would be Austin here
yeah.
because I mean, he's so clean. He's so neat. We're seeing like, this is a situation where this is the day after the runway, right? And another thing to remember is this is all happening over a month, Michelle.
Mm,
This whole show is shot over a month.
over oh, these poor people. They must
So
be
that's another
exhausted.
I was just going to say to you, that's another layer, right?
Yeah.
Is that this is all happening from episode 1 until the elimination, the last elimination, before they have to go out and create their line for
And how
Olympus
many
Fashion Week.
episodes are there? Are they like 8,
I
9,
I
10?
I think there's, including the reunion, I believe there is 10.
Okay. Okay.
Um, and so it's one of those situations where I feel like because of that, it makes it that much more interesting, right? It's much more. I don't know. I
Well,
feel
you're gonna
it's
see them fall apart. They're gonna like start to lose their faculties and get a little crankier, and Wendy's gonna continue to have makeup that's uglier by the day. Oh,
Wendy, 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 Wendy. Yeah, I mean, honestly, so we start out just in the Atlas Apartments, and we have some side, confessionals here from people like Austin,
mhm.
who says he feels betrayed by Wendy because, of course, Wendy basically threw him under the bus in the previous challenge,
Yep, yep.
and she really did,
Yeah, she
and
did.
she really threw him under pretty hard. And then we have, of course, Wendy's confessional, quote unquote, reply where she says that she thinks that Austin is acting like he's wounded.
Now, I don't what do you think the age difference is between those 2?
So she is 37. I remember that.
Okay.
And I think Austin is in his 20s.
So, I guess, I'm trying to think now I don't really give a fuck what anyone says to me, and I don't really care if I insult you either. I mean, I'm beyond, right? I don't care. So,
Well, you're
but
a
I
big adult person.
yeah, so I think, if I was in Austin's shoes, I would probably feel the same way at that age, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I have to say, too, let's not forget that previous to that, Wendy was basically kissing his ass
Well,
and
that's
being
the
so
thing. So
nice to
he's a
him.
little confused, right? But now that I am
He
where I
does
am
feel betrayed.
now, I don't care that you betrayed me because I know you probably never meant it. So, I don't trust anybody. So I'd be totally fine because I'll get to fuck you later. It's okay. You wait.
That's the thing. Yeah, Michelle, I don't want to fuck around with you. See, I'm a short con person. Like I will knock you out verbally or physically in the moment. Michelle
Which
will
is
do a
so
long
fucking
con.
awesome.
Michelle will do a long con that will dismantle your whole fucking life. And yeah, I feel like you're honestly you're a little closer to Wendy too. You got some Wendy tendencies. But it's true. I mean, I think that Austin too was taken in by her mother act.
Yeah.
I feel like
Her
they all
act,
kind of
yeah.
were in the beginning. And so I think this is just Austin seeing clearly now. And so Jay echoes what we said just a few minutes ago that things are starting to get competitive.
Mhm.
And so we see the montage of everybody getting ready. And it's super quick because of course there's not much to show in Atlas because they're all sharing basically the same room.
Right.
And we head back to the runway and Heidi is wearing a brown like Renaissance fair
I don't
dress.
know what it's disgusting. It's I just
Just it was
have
so
Heidi's outfit
stunned.
sucks.
The the choices for Heidi that they made for Heidi in this are so dated. Like when I look at them now, I'm like, ah,
Like the hip
we wore
belt,
that.
right?
Yeah,
The
like we wore all that shit. But to me, I think like this is Heidi Klum at the height of her powers. I mean, she is drop dead gorgeous.
Yeah.
And she is wearing clothes like the opening montage, the opening of every episode. Literally, she's wearing a dress that I think Luann de Lesseps wears. Like it's like that one with the shoulder vomit. It's
Yeah.
like a
Yeah.
very simple
Yeah.
dress. It
Shoulder
looks like
vomit.
something that like Luann de Lesseps wore to like a charity event
Uh-huh.
in Roni. And I'm like, really? This is the best we could do for like someone who was ostensibly like what one of the biggest supermodels in the world at the time?
I would have thought, that she would have been in some like kind of like really expensive classic
Yes.
kinds of things. Do you know what I'm saying? I mean, like,
I think they should have used this as an opportunity to dress her,
yeah.
to show designers from maybe all over the world or people who were famous or maybe classic design. Something they I feel like it's a missed opportunity to not use Heidi in that way, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree.
And so this time Heidi says she's changing it up. The models will be chosen first this week. She's not going to tell them what the challenge is. Because of course, had she told them what the challenge is, everybody would have picked differently.
Yep.
And I'm sure Heidi is really
Oh, yeah.
enjoying that. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So the models come out onto the runway. And so we have Kevin who picks Olga.
Yep.
Jay picks Morgan, who he will then call Morganza
Morganza.
for the rest of the episode. Carasan picks Jenny. Austin picks Julia. Robert picks Martinique. Wendy picks Joy. And then Alexandra picks Erin. And then Nora has the final choice. It is Audrey versus Melissa. And of course, Audrey is out. And
Which is
again,
fine because she's actually a senior in high school, so she's got things to do.
right when she said that, I was like, good, you better get your shit together. You
Yeah,
got to
right.
take your entrance exams,
Like,
kid.
what are you doing here now, right? Like, what month is
Yeah.
this? Yeah, go back to school.
I know. I just wanted to go. Hopefully, this doesn't fuck with her with her transcripts. But yeah, so and honestly, I feel like it's funny. She probably was less dramatic than a lot of the other girls, and
Uh-huh.
I think had we known what this challenge was, she probably would have been in, and someone like Morganza would have been out.
Yes, absolutely.
Because do you want to tell everybody what the challenge is?
Oh, well, it's fantastic. It is that they have to, the model is their client and they have to create a wedding dress for them. And so it's an interesting collaboration because we're going to see who loses themselves, and then who gets to stand their ground but still make the client happy, which is difficult. And and what's really fucking funny is I'll just give you a little foreshadowing. They all turn into bridezillas. It's hilarious. And you would all
And
think
who
that
would
they're all
think?
getting married, right? I mean,
I was just going to say to you, it's an unusual choice to make these young girls
yeah,
not their clients. Like I could understand that in general.
yeah.
Like I think that's an interesting challenge. But the idea that the thing to design for them would be their ideal wedding dress, that felt stupid to me because it felt like they're basically all children. So
And I can tell you, when I got married, I had no idea of an ideal wedding dress. I mean, maybe some people think in those terms. It was really foreign to me.
yeah, I was, it's funny because I was going to ask you about that, like what your ideal wedding dress was. I never thought about that growing up. It was not like what other girls like would be like, oh, and all my bridesmaids are gonna wear. I remember our friend whose name shall be remain nameless, Jay, would talk about like everybody, all the girls would wear purple, right? Because that was her color. Like
Uh-huh.
all her bridesmaids would wear purple. And I remember thinking at the time, why don't I don't even think about this, but I never, it was not something that I ever wasted my time on.
Nope.
To say wasted, but it wasn't a thing that like captured my attention in a way. So I wouldn't have even known what to pick. I probably would have just let the designer do whatever they wanted.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't
That's
I
what I
don't
would have
know.
done too. I would have said, okay, you just, yeah, you do it for me.
Yeah. And as you know, and I hate to say it, as soon as the I feel like as soon as the challenge is read, they instantly start shitting their pants.
Yes. Yeah.
That's when Jay is like, "Oh, I'm a little worried," and
Yeah.
of course, we all know he should be.
Yep.
So they get to meet with the model for a half hour,
Yep.
and it just looks ridiculous. Just even the quick shots of them just talking to the models, it was giving me anxiety. Just
Yeah.
I kept thinking to myself, "Oh, how do these girls have such specific ideas?" And
Yeah.
it felt very much like they were it felt very much like they were overshadowing the designers. And in the moment, I remember thinking, oh, this is just the initial meeting. The designers are going to like interpret these requests.
Some do, some
And
don't. Yeah.
yeah, and I think
Yeah.
that's the crux of the challenge is that the way that they interpret these requests. So they go back to Parsons, and I think Tim is really. I mean, I hate to say it, he is giving away. He's spilling the beans right here. He's telling them. He's like, listen, don't abdicate your creativity.
Creativity. Yep.
Yeah, in favor of the models,
Yep.
you know? And he actually says to them, you don't want your design to end up in the fashion cemetery.
Now let's talk about those.
Mm,
There was a Stars Flapper dress.
mm.
And then there was the Bo Peep, Austin's Bo Peep, which, and then they shot to Austin.
And he
And
was
I
like,
think
fuck
he was
you, Tim.
mad. Yeah, I think he
He
was
was so
mad that his
fuck you.
Bo Peep was there. And then there was the paper bag dress. And who's the guy who did that again?
That was Daniel Cardenas.
Daniel. Right, Daniel.
No, Daniel Franco.
Daniel
If you
Franco.
want, if you want integrity and a pain in the ass, I'm Daniel Franco.
Yes. And then what was the other thing? There was
Mario's with blood on the front,
yes, with blood on the front. So
with the Obi belt.
yeah, with the I think
God bless
the
him.
samurai,
We miss,
right?
we miss, we hardly knew ye, Mario.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
that was
but
hilarious. Yeah.
I loved that though. You're right. I caught that too. Austin's face was like, "Fuck you, bitch." He's
Yep.
like, "I stand by Bo Peep." He
Yep.
does too. I know he does.
Yep.
So then the models arrive loudly, and it's instantly they're doing the bridal theme. And as soon as they come in, I'm like,
And Morgan's super pushy.
"Oh, she's a pain in the ass." Michelle, what
Yeah.
is she even talking about?
Oh, I don't know. I don't.
She becomes T-Rex, right? She just starts puking up ideas and is like,
yeah.
like
And
it just,
Jay just
ugh.
gets really, he gets real stiff upper lip, gets very
Yeah.
serious, right? Like in, 'cause, Jay up to this point, he's been like kind of
He
like
wants to win.
chill, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he's just like real serious this time. Like his face completely changes. Hard to describe, but he's not having.
Well, no, I think it's he's determined now. Like I think he's seen and I think we talked about this before too. I think when Mario leaves, he realizes his fuck it attitude is only going to get him so far.
Yeah.
That he kind of
Yeah.
has to do the thing, and he doesn't want to go out over something stupid.
Yes.
And I think he's just gotten to the point now where he's like thinking he might want to win this.
Yeah.
And I feel like we have a situation where some of the models are just so laid back, and I feel bad because I mean Morgan is the opposite of laid back. So Alexandra's model is super laid back. She doesn't really give a shit. And then you see Robert, and he's trying to like hypnotize
And he's
Martinique
saying
again.
leather out of lace, lace out of leather. I really
don't-
thought, what the ever loving fuck is happening? Robert, again.
He's doing that guy. I'm telling you, he's doing that guy from
And
Little
crickets
Britain.
from the model, right?
He's like 3, 2, 1, you're under. Leather and lace,
Right.
lace and leather,
right.
leather
He's
and
doing
lace.
like the Svengali things,
Yeah.
right?
3, 2, 1, you're back in the room. And she's like, I would love some lace on my corset. Yes.
Yes.
I mean, God bless him. He's just got the gift of the bullshit.
Yeah.
And nobody wants to say anything to him. So then we have Julia, who like is channeling you, Michelle, and for some reason she wants leopard. And I'm like, no, please, Jesus, no, please, Jesus, no. And then Melissa, who is 16 and who she is 16 going on 9,
Yeah.
and she wants her Nora
Her
to be her designer, and she wants very cheesy, immature
and because her middle name is
designs.
Rose, and so she needs roses all over the place.
Yeah, I'm telling you, the things that she want, like I was, it feels like she's much younger than she is.
Yeah.
Very girlish idea. And then Kevin's model, Olga, wants diamonds on everything. Wants this gaudy situation.
Olga, you must do diamonds, or I
You must,
fucking
we
kill
like
you.
diamond.
Now,
Yes.
what year was this again? This was
This is, yeah, 2000
so
and early 2000s.
so at that time there was an influx of Russian models. I mean, this is when the fashion industry changed for models.
Yeah.
Because you had like, supermodels up to that point, and then Russia was kind of developing oligarchs and letting people out of the country, and this was a big change. And so she was kind of she was like one of the early on people,
It's wild how influential this show became. And so to
Yeah.
your point, the people who were on it became
Yes.
someone. Like
Yeah.
this made their careers, or in some cases, I'm sure broke it.
Yeah. And so her whole thing with like the wanting to bedazzle the fucking wedding dress, just I cannot tell you how many times I was out and about, like, and I would see somebody with like bedazzled fucking jeans and jean jackets, and I'd be like,
Ugh.
they're Russian. And they were, absolutely. Absolutely.
or it could be Janine.
Yeah, who secretly wants to be Russian. But no, like at this time period between like 2000 and 2008.
Yeah, she was probably over the bedazzle by then.
Yeah. Well, she invented the bedazzle, didn't she?
She had the bedazzled bustier. She used to
Yeah.
be bedazzled bustiers. Yeah, that was a
Yeah.
whole situation.
So yeah, so poor
What a
Kevin is
luck.
just like, oh, she wants it. Yeah, sign
Yeah, and I don't blame him. I feel like she's really,
pushy.
for some reason,
Pushy.
I feel like they have all misread either that, or potentially maybe the direction was to the models, just go in and say what you want. Like, don't,
Yeah,
do you know what I
who
mean?
cares?
I wonder if for some of them, if they've been told to do that,
Yeah.
because so many of them come in with these ideas and then they keep pushing it in a way that makes it seem almost like they really are paying for a dress.
Mhm.
And Jay starts to get terrified, and I get it, because he's worried that Morgan's dress is going to get him eliminated.
Mhm.
And so I think that's another thing with Jay, is that it's all fun and games until he starts thinking that he might go home.
Yep.
Like, I
Yep.
think that's the kind of person he is. I don't think he fucks around like that.
Yeah.
Morgan wants a sheer dress. And so Kevin and Jay bitch about their models, their respective models.
Mhm.
And then we have our obligatory trip to Mood, led by our favorite
Love
Tim
that.
Gunn.
$300 and 45 minutes.
It must be casual Friday at Parsons because Tim is not wearing a turtleneck.
No. Looks adorable.
Yeah, he's so cute.
Yep.
And I've always wanted to go to Mood. That's going to have to be on our next New York trip. And then we have their mad dashes. Robert says he designed his ex-wife's wedding gown. Why is there not a picture of it?
Why am I not surprised?
Here's the thing, I wasn't either, but I really want to see a picture of it. As soon as he said it, I was like, oh, they're going to show a picture. And then when we didn't get it, I was like,
he's just one of these guys. He just really loves women.
oh yeah, he probably cheated on her with everybody within a 20-foot radius.
Probably. But I don't know. Maybe he's just one of these. Maybe he's just always going to muse. Wouldn't say that he necessarily cheated on her. I just think he just thinks women are really cool, and thinking about them is cool. You know.
He just loves his mom.
Yeah, and
That's what it is. He just loved his mom.
Yeah, so it's not just like that they got a pussy and he can put something in it. It's he just thinks that like their beings are cool. Their shapes, their smells. He just digs being around them. All right.
Well, I think you're right, because he does say he takes this very seriously.
Yeah.
Like that. He even says he's like, I'm not fucking around.
Yeah.
Jay picks up like an off-white with sequins.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was surprised. Nora is buying roses, Michelle. Roses, roses,
Yes.
roses, roses, roses. How many roses can she buy for $113?
Yep.
They head back to the workroom and they have 2 days to complete the dress. And so this is now that I'm understanding this all taking place over a month,
Mhm.
I feel the level of pressure because there are no days off,
No.
right? You're going from thing to thing to thing to thing to thing.
Yep.
And so all of a sudden they're in like this room outside of the workroom, this sort of like a casual, like relaxing area. And Jay is using a flip phone, and I love it.
Oh, it with a little antenna on it, right?
Yes,
Remember those?
he's
Yeah.
he's calling Morgan,
And I think she's on a Nextel because it
and there's
keeps going.
I had one. So when I was younger, my ex and I had a. It drove me. The Nextel drove me crazy.
Uh-huh.
It drove me crazy because they would always like try to get in touch with me, and I'd hear the beep, and then I'd be like, "Fuck!" And back then, you felt like you had to answer it because it was like a walkie-talkie.
Yeah, and it was
You
so
had it
goddamn
on you.
loud. Yeah.
Yeah, like you knew you had it on you. That person knew you had it on you.
And
It was
so
the
did
whole
everyone
point,
else. Like,
right?
yes.
There was no way to. You couldn't be like slick and with a Nextel. But yeah, it would totally gave me like I was triggered by it.
Uh-huh, I'm sure.
And they and the whole time I was freaking out because I remember it was so hard to hold a conversation because it is
Walkie-talkie, really.
a walkie-talkie. It
Yeah.
only has the one way.
Yeah.
So like once Morgan starts talking, he can't stop her to go like, stop doing that. I need to know this, that, the other thing. And
Uh-huh.
she just keeps going and going and going and going and going on this call. And so he starts screaming. I mean, he must scream Morganza 4 times during that call.
Yep.
Um, and then we switched to Nora, who's talking about her dress. And she said that she is losing her design perspective and that she should be more firm in her style.
Uh-huh.
But the problem is like I mean, she keeps leaning into everything that her model wants. It's like she has these moments where she knows that she shouldn't be doing it and she kind of questions it.
Yes. Yeah.
And then she leans in again to what the model wants. And then she takes a minute and kind of goes, I don't know. Like even when things like I feel like she has so many opportunities to fix this dress, like even when the dyeing goes wrong later.
Mhm. Mhm.
I
But
think she has.
she gave up at some point,
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
yeah. Austin reveals the print, and I thought I was gonna throw up.
I
Did you like
wasn't
it?
I not well, I thought it was fun, but not for what he was doing. I really I couldn't figure out what in the world he was gonna do with it. I don't know. And it wasn't leopard, it was peacock.
Yeah, it was very strange. I don't think it was bad for like in terms of as a fabric in general, but I just thought for this I didn't get it.
Yeah.
We get a Wendy confessional where she basically says the same thing. She thinks that Austin is off his game and that he doesn't know how to adapt to the client, which we'll see. But I'm very confused by his design. When the chains come out, I
Yeah. Yeah, it's the chains
like
down the
you can
back.
see, yeah, you can see he's trying something different. I mean, he even tries to drape them beautifully. Like he's always looking for this, like this really beautiful aesthetic. But
Yeah.
I think in this particular case, Julia, who seems like a cool, interesting girl who would probably like an alternative dress for sure. I think he took it too literally. I think he could have just made a beautiful dress in a different color with some different elements, and that would have been great. It
Yeah.
didn't have to be something where every part of it was non-traditional. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
It felt really overdone. All right. So then we get to Wendy in the confessional. And so she thinks Austin is way off his game and that she thinks he doesn't know how to adapt to the client. But I am super confused by his design so far. I feel like he's trying something different.
Yeah, and I'm wanting to give him the benefit of the doubt right now because I'm thinking, well, maybe she's just continuing to be a bitch, right? And she's just
Well, that's the thing. I feel like anything that Wendy says now is suspect. I'm like,
yeah.
everything she says, I'm just kind of like giving her like bombastic side eye.
Yeah.
I don't, I don't trust her at all.
Yeah.
Um, and then I feel like I am now becoming an expert on this because I've been doing a lot of walking because now I'm an old lady at the Square One Mall.
Okay.
And they have like 3 or 4 different stores that have quinceañera dresses.
Oh
And when
yeah.
I tell you these
Yep.
dresses are like but gorgeous,
Yeah, but
I
they're super huge, right? Super
I have
wide.
no idea. I will buy one. I have no idea where I will wear it, but motherfucker, I will
You want one?
wear one. Yes, very badly. And what Nora is making for me can only be described as a quinceañera dress. It feels very similar. It really does.
Uh-huh.
Because the basic design of so many of these dresses feels like a wedding dress, but embellished.
Yes. Yes.
And so
With like
that's what
lots of hoops underneath or something, right?
yeah, and it would be the kind of thing where you would find roses appliqued all over the bottom.
Yep. Absolutely.
100%.
Yep.
Um, and then Karasan says that she got lucky with her model. And I think she did because I think her model is not, I think she also trusts Karasan too. I don't think
She
she
does.
doesn't have a big perspective.
Yeah, she does. And yeah, and it's interesting. And I think Alexandra's model says the same thing. I love everything you do. Just do what you want to do, you know. So I'm not sure that all the models have that trust in their designer, but and I don't know what Austin's model's thinking, Maria. I don't know. I don't get it.
I don't
Just cookie.
understand.
Yeah.
I don't understand. So he's preparing to dye some netting. And so Austin creates this smock out of a plastic
I
bag
love that.
that literally rivals anything Star ever made.
I know, right? And then you like wraps a belt around it with
I was like,
another piece
holy
of
fuck
paper
yes.
bag.
And I was like, wait a minute, did he just make like a kimono? I don't know what
Yeah.
happened just here.
Yeah.
And then
Of caftan. Yeah.
yeah, he's so talented. God bless. Everything he makes looks great. And then we have a situation where poor Nora has the wrong color. I don't know that she could have thought it was the right color. She said the color was wine,
Wine? What does she think wine is?
which is not red. Red is red. Red is
Coca-Cola
Coca-Cola
red.
red. Yeah, you don't get
Wine
more
is
red than
like
that.
maroon, right?
Right. And so I think the color came out exactly as advertised. I think
Yeah.
Nora has a mental problem.
I do. Yeah.
But she starts to fall apart. And you can see, just like she was with Kevin, like as soon as a small pebble comes in the road for her, she starts to kind of, she is super young, right? She's 21.
Yeah, she is, but she needs control. It's like if she doesn't have ultimate control, I I think she can't handle it.
Yeah, it's hard for her to try to keep it together when things
Yeah.
go wrong for her.
Yeah.
Um, and of course, Wendy thinks her design is awesome
Yeah,
and
she
it'll
does.
win.
Yeah.
And I have to say, do you remember, and I don't remember what year it is, and I'm going to see if I can try and find it right now, but do you remember what Kim Basinger wore to, I think it was to the premiere of Batman Returns? It was very famous because she designed it. It was like half of it looked like it was like a ball gown on the bottom, and then one half of it looked like a bustier, just the corset part, and then the other half was like a jacket with
Oh,
a long sleeve.
yes. I hated that.
Yes, it was hideous. For some reason, this reminds me of that Wendy's design.
Uh-huh.
It has the same kind of vibe where it just doesn't look right. It just looks off.
Yeah.
Or it
The
looks like something
asymmetry is
Celine.
not good.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
remember when Celine Dion wore the backwards suit to the Oscars?
Yep.
Like that. It just looks off.
Yeah.
And then Austin, and God bless him, in Lipstick and Pearls, says that Wendy's style is gimmicky, silly, and not flattering. I have to be honest.
I believe that.
I
I'm with it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't even think she has a style perspective. I haven't seen it yet. He says that she doesn't understand the basics of design. In addition to being completely out of tune with the world. I love him.
Yeah.
That's basically his way of saying she's old.
Yeah.
Um, so we go back at Atlas apartment. I'm going to just glance over the fact that we have Robert post shower. Austin has his hair in curlers, and
Mhm.
they are getting ready to go out together. I love it when they're like side by side in the mirror.
I love that.
So
Yeah.
cute. The two of them are so cute. And then they go to the cutting room bar.
Oh, sorry.
And
Just
then
before that, though. So Kevin and Jay.
yeah.
Kevin says that he's gonna wear like his studded. No, Jay says he's gonna wear a studded thong,
Oh yes,
right?
yes.
And then I don't know if you noticed this, but on their bed, which their room is a shithole, right?
Yeah.
But Kevin has like a fucking garbage bag on his bed. Is that what he came with?
I
Is
think
that
that's how
his
he travels.
suitcase?
I have a cousin who does that. We went to one of the most expensive hotels in Austin, and he came in with dirty Moolah's bags. Really? Full of clothing. I was like, this hotel is like $600 a night, dude.
My gosh, that is so funny. That is so
Work was
funny.
paying for it, and I was just like,
Yeah.
and I remember he went out and got like, I don't know, some kind of like local kind of like pizza place food and brought it all the way through this really expensive hotel. I was like, oh my God. Oh my God. I can't pretend. I have to pretend I don't know them. Have to
Yeah.
pretend I don't know them. But yes, so we have this situation where, I think that we have a lot of I'll put it this way, they cast really well on this show.
They
We
did.
have a lot of
They did.
characters.
Yep.
So it would not surprise me if Kevin has gone through life in garbage bags.
Right.
Yeah, either that or like he is like most men who will consign something to dirty clothes and then will revisit that to decide whether or not he could wear it one more time.
Right, because it whether or not it's
He might,
nice. Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
He's gonna chickeny check it. And so then we get to the cutting room bar where Rob tells us that he is very sexually frustrated.
Not surprised. Not surprised.
And so then we have all these folks like Karasan is saying that Rob is constantly talking about sex and has been heavily flirting with Alexandria. Um, and so they're all getting lit. And
Mhm.
I love Nora's dress. You see, she's wearing like a dress with like a black top. I don't understand why she's just not making this dress over and over again.
Yeah, yeah,
And then the bottom is all of these different colors. It looks like tulle,
yeah.
but it looks
It was
like
very cool.
fire. It was
Yeah.
beautiful. And then, Rob tells us it's an innocent flirtation with Alexandra. And then she says that she only sees him as a friend. Womp womp, Roberto. And so they leave. And I feel
Roberto.
like Roberto. And I feel like I know this guy that Robert has now become since
Rico
he is
Suave.
no, his name. So I'm not even going to say his name because
Because I
of
know.
how
Do I
no,
know?
because of how what kind of a man he is. I would not even dignify it. But so this guy used to drink a lot, a lot,
Uh-huh.
and would then do things outside of the bar, like these. I used to call them like almost like Festivus feats of strength. You know?
Peacocking, basically.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But it
Mhm.
was always like but they were always like feats of strength, like something that would
Festivus
show.
feats of strength.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like like so he would literally. I remember one time he tried to walk down the street on his hands, and he fell into a hydrant so badly that like he almost broke his leg.
Ah,
And yeah, and
okay.
just stupid things like that. So it reminds me of this guy. The idea that he would have to peacock in this particular way. And like he has to Robert has to become Mitch Gaylord. And he wants to show us how he does on the uneven bars. And so he's hanging off of scaffolding, basically showing off.
Uh-huh.
And Jay says that Robert is fueled by women and sex, which makes sense when we talk about his design perspective, right?
Yep.
Like
Yep. Absolutely.
that tracks for the way that we're thinking about him. So in the midst of like a double somersault, he fails to nail the landing.
He does
The
this thing.
Russian
He
the
like
Russian
pulls.
judges are pissed.
Yeah, and they can't find like the negatives like on the cards, right? Because nobody
Yeah.
ever gets a negative. No, so he does this thing, and I forget what you call it in gymnastics, but you like so you sort of you pull up and then you take your feet over your like between over your head and between the bar, and you go backwards, and somehow your shoulders are supposed to fucking
It looks like a dislocator. I think that's what they should call it, the shoulder dislocator.
yeah. And and then and he fucking falls in the middle of it. He's almost done. He's almost down, and he loses his grip.
Yeah, I feel bad because like for someone who is not a gymnast and is completely obliterated, he does some pretty cool shit on the on the uneven bars.
But
So I'm impressed.
I wasn't really impressed with his body because they did a couple of shots of him.
No, it was okay. It was
It
okay. I
wasn't
mean,
like
not that I would actually do anything with Robert, but he's, lovely.
uh-huh,
I like his face. I like
yeah,
his face and the words that he says. But he does fall and crack his fucking head open, Michelle.
it's awesome.
Um, and only the booze is keeping him upright at this point. So
Yeah,
they're all worried about him. And it's at this point when they're all standing around outside that I get really a chance to see what Austin is wearing. And he's wearing like a jumpsuit and has a sash that's like tulle, a
yes,
huge
yeah.
sash. I fucking love it. Um, and I stopped giving a fuck about what's going on with Robert, even though his head is bleeding. I am pausing it and like zooming in on what Austin is wearing because he looks so cute.
Yeah,
Karasan takes him to the ER where he gets two staples. And is completely, you can still see even on the car ride or whatever the ride back to Atlas, he's still pretty fueled by alcohol. So he must have been
yeah,
shit faced.
yeah. I still find how she's the one who like elected to bring him to the hospital.
I think that she is one of the more mature and is probably the one who had been drinking the least.
Yeah,
I feel like
probably.
she's not stupid. She would have a couple of drinks over a few hours, but she wouldn't get drunk. I feel like she very much. So Jay has just recently turned his eyes to the prize in terms of our recap of this.
Hmm.
I feel like Karasan came in with her eyes on the prize from jump.
Yeah, exactly,
Standing
exactly.
on standing on big girl business right there.
Well, I would have been the person to, like, probably not drink that much, and I'd be the first to fucking run. If I saw that idiot, like, up on the bars, I'd be like, "Oh, okay." I'd like I know that there are some women who, like, think that stuff is cool, but I don't know who they are. I've never
No.
been one of them, but, and I think men do that for other men, not for women.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I think in some cases they do it to like to your point earlier to peacock,
Yeah,
but like to out peacock another guy. But
yeah.
I don't think there's because it's mostly gay men
Yeah, who's he?
on the show.
Yeah,
I think, I'm not even sure if Kevin is straight. So
yeah.
I think it was very targeted to poor Alexandra,
Mhm.
who like she said, doesn't even have any feelings about him.
No.
So the next day we're in the workroom and fucking Nora is blow drying her roses.
Yeah.
Like at what point again are you doing something where you're like, this is fucked up. Should I be doing this?
Yeah.
This seems stupid as fuck.
And
You know
she
what I mean?
really
Like it just
you could see it on her face. She feels that way. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I feel bad. I think we all know that moment where like you've gone too far with something and you can't take it back.
But I'm trying to
Uh,
figure out what would she have done with all the fucking roses?
honestly, like I feel like she could have hidden them maybe in a panel and maybe had it like lift up for, the ceremony or cover or whatever. Like I feel like just literally lining the bottom just felt so juvenile to me. Like even like I would say like maybe you put a few in the bottom in the center and maybe they go from light to dark in the
Probably like an
center and
ombre
maybe
kind of thing. Yep.
yeah, and maybe they
Yeah.
get covered up by a panel and maybe that panel comes up for the reception
Yeah.
or something or
Or
vice versa.
she could have done one over the shoulder thing
Yep.
with some flowers there, just a little hint of something. Yeah.
This just felt like very I'm telling you when I look at these dresses and I love them in the square one.
Yeah.
I love these fucking dresses. It looks just like that. They have like it's very literal. It's just like the flowers at the bottom of the hem.
Yeah.
It does feel like not to spoil it, but it does feel like something that you could literally find in a store.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Um, and so I hate to say it, but this is a point where because I was so disappointed in everybody's work, that I could see, except basically Carason's. And then Tim Gunn shows up and everything's okay. Anytime he
Hilarious.
walks in the room, what's that song? The minute you walked in the room. Like I feel like that's Tim. He walks in
Mhm.
and everything is automatically elevated.
Yes, it
I
is.
feel like it's like that comedian Laura Ramoso who does with her mother, like sit up straight.
Yeah.
Clara,
Lara, sit
Clara,
up straight,
sit
Lara.
up straight. We have eaten 7 hours ago. How are you hungry? Um, so Tim Gunn visits in an amazing sweater vest.
Yeah.
I've never seen him. I
He's
don't think
really dressed
before.
down for this,
I've
right?
never seen him so casual. You
Yeah.
know what it reminds me of is my uncle, the general, wears a suit 24/7 with a tie, like a
Okay.
suit.
Uh-huh.
Anytime I've ever seen him not wearing a tie, it's always like incongruous. I look at him and I'm just like, who are you?
Yeah.
Like I can't even imagine Uncle Frank wearing something like that. Like
Okay.
with a sweater vest,
Yeah.
he would never not wear a blazer. He might
Okay.
not wear a tie, that's once every 10 years, but he would never not wear a suit jacket. I mean, he's
Interesting.
not a heathen, Michelle.
Uh-huh. Right. He's a
That's
gentleman.
how he
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So it reminds me of Tim, like the fact that he would be so cash,
Mhm.
but I feel like his casual outfit belies the tough shit he is about to lay down.
He does it so well. He's so funny when he does it. I don't he doesn't mean to be funny.
He doesn't, but the way that he gives feedback, I really appreciate it because he's visiting Jay who has these things that look like eggs,
Eggs.
like fried eggs
Yeah.
that he's putting on his dress. And so he tells Jay to listen to his own voice as opposed to Morgan's. Um, and so what Tim says is I think is appropriate. He says, there's a reason why she's the model and Jay is the designer.
Yep.
And that's his, Timmy is gonna have the burn, right? And then he's even gonna say in an uncharacteristically petty burn, he says that, our girl Morganza, everybody
Mhm.
already thinks she's a kook.
Yeah, she's already labeled as a kook.
Yeah.
Yes.
So he visits
Oh,
Nora and is then horrified, Michelle.
oh, and It's so
He
funny.
can't take his eyes off the dress. He
He
can't walk
can't. He
away.
doesn't know what to do. It's like target fixation, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't know what to do. And so she's kind of futzing with the roses and putting the tulle over it, and she's like, "It's frosty." He's like, "Mm, yes, frosty." Yeah. It is frosty.
I couldn't believe it. And then she's like, "I'm gonna get back to work." And he's like, "Okay." And he like goes to walk away and he stops
And
and
he starts
literally is like,
again.
and he can't stop fucking looking at it. I
Yeah.
was dying because I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, Tim is probably trying to think like, how can I say, but he even says it to Jay when he's giving him advice. He's like, "You're in charge."
Yeah.
I think Tim is good at giving advice and then sort of stepping away.
But he saw Nora cross the
But
line. There was no coming back.
oh yeah. And I also think though too, like, I think even what we were saying in terms of she could have used the roses, but in a different way.
Yeah.
I think that's probably what he was trying to hint at with her too, is to say to her, like, but you can't just come out and say, have you ever thought of maybe not being so literal with the like hem of roses?
Mhm.
Maybe use the roses in an unusual way if you're going to do something that's so traditional.
Yeah.
But I think that's even too much. That's too much guidance,
Yeah. I think so.
for him
Yeah.
to give. So I think the best he can do is support and gently and sort of gently go. "Hmm?" And if you have eyes, you can read his face.
Yeah. I
I don't.
She read it though. She knew. She knew
You
that
think
like yeah, I do.
that it
I
was
do.
fucked?
Yeah. And I mean, she was real fait accompli already at that point. She had already given up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard. It's hard to watch, And then this is a really interesting next few minutes, and I'm dying to know what you think about this. This is weird. I think this is really strange. Because the girls start to come in, the models,
Yeah.
but with their boyfriends? What what?
I don't understand. So
They're
Olga
not really
shows up.
getting married, right? I mean,
I don't know, was this planned or did they just all decide to fucking tell their boyfriends to come in? But Olga's boyfriend comes in and starts like nitpicking like where the fucking diamonds should be, you know?
what the fuck? They literally, even Kevin says they think they're designing the dress.
Yeah. 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 I don't know. I maybe would have lost my shit over that if somebody did that to me. I maybe would have started throwing things.
I can't even believe that these guys come in and they say anything.
Yeah.
I can't believe they're there, A,
Yeah.
and that B, they speak.
Yeah.
It's amazing to me. Because then then we go to Austin having to meet Julia and her boyfriend Rich, who looks homeless.
Yeah.
And then Julia is trying on Austin's design and she asks the boyfriend if he likes the color, which means probably that she doesn't fucking like it. Wendy is there and is working on her dress and says stunning, but means gross.
Uh-huh.
And she keeps saying that Austin is so talented.
I
And so
know
it's like,
she's really
she's a fucking bitch,
she's
Michelle.
being such an asshole, right? She's like, he's stunning. He's so talented. And yeah, fuck you, Wendy.
Michelle, I'm serious. I'm throwing her right off Ireland.
Yeah. Okay.
Rob's model is cracking me up. So it's
This
Martinique,
is
right?
awesome. Yep.
I think I just think she's so, so, so pretty. And I can't even, it blows my mind. This poor girl has to be subjected to Rob's designs multiple weeks in a row.
Yeah.
But she sees the lace that he wants to work with
Uh-huh.
and says that it's old lady. But then Karasan comes
Uh-huh.
in.
Yep.
This sounds like something that your mother would do. Says the fabric is very expensive. Oh, was the fabric very expensive? It was very expensive.
Yeah, he's
So
rough like it's $50 a yard. Yeah.
and as soon as she hears that, the model is all of a sudden very interested in lace.
Yeah. She's like, wrap it right around me. Yep.
And so Karasan, who's so cool, looks at us and says, trick of the trade. And I think that's another subtle reminder to us too, Michelle, that like, not that this isn't her first rodeo. This is the first this is the first competition show of its type that's ever existed. And
Right.
this is the first season, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's new for everyone, right? Nobody kind of knows how to navigate it. But Karasan clearly has been in the industry long enough
a long
to
time. Yeah.
know, to have experienced probably a lot of the challenges that we're going to face in this season. She has probably experienced them in real life,
Because
in her
she's done a
business.
lot of stuff like with theater, right? And
Yes, and then with individual artists, so she's had a
yeah,
one-on-one client.
and she knows what those attitudes and those egos can be like. so she knows how to placate them so that you can get your shit done.
Exactly. I think that's the thing is that she knows how to navigate and manage relationships
Mhm.
in a way that a lot of them don't. And I think that's the whole point of this show is like, can you navigate these relationships with clients or even with the larger fashion industry as a whole while still remaining like true to your own artistic integrity?
Yep.
And I think that's why I think we're starting to see that now with the designers. Like some of them have a perspective that we can clearly see as they're moving along, and then others are finding it. And some of them aren't finding it quickly enough. And that's why
Right.
and that's why they're out. Um, so, once Karasan gives us that little, wink, we see Nora and the model Melissa. And of course the flowers are purple, which they should be because of course the color is
It's wine.
wine.
Yeah.
I don't get it. And then they all start to panic that they won't finish the dress, which totally makes sense. I mean, these are incredibly ambitious designs.
Yes.
Who could put together something, right? And so then we head back to Atlas Apartments. We
Oh,
see,
but sorry, but before that,
yes,
Tim's trying to sort of get them all like in line. And at some
yes.
point he's like, just stop.
Oh yeah, right
Just
before they're
stop.
about to go out to the runway.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just stop.
Yeah, right before the runway he does that. Yeah, he'll do that in a few minutes. It's so funny because Tim is like he's meant to be the cat wrangler, but he becomes so much more than that.
The cat wrangler.
Um
That's funny. How do you wrangle cats? You don't.
you don't. You don't.
They wrangle
Um
him. Yeah.
yeah, that's the thing. Um and so then they go back to this is Atlas Apartments the next morning and we see Rob in his underwear really briefly. And then we see Nora who is now has now drank her own Kool-Aid. She's doing that
Poor
thing where
thing.
you know
Yep.
you're fucked. You know you're fucked, but you have to kind of, as Naya would say to me, like, so you got to stand on business,
Yep.
right? You got to stand. You fucking said this was the dress, you know.
Yep.
You put the work into it. You're going to present it now. You got to stand on business.
Own it.
Yeah, you got to
Own it,
own it.
Nora. Yeah.
She's saying that her dress is well put together,
Mhm.
which it well may be, but it's also very, very, very basic.
Mhm.
And that's when we have Tim coming in and saying they have until 4 p.m. that day to
Mhm.
finish. Because of
Mhm.
course they have 2 days for this challenge. And when we see that, we see Wendy looking demented again.
Right, with the
With the makeup, they're
eyeshadow?
not her friend.
No.
Who the fuck is letting her walk around like that, not going, you look ill. I'm telling you, she looks like Jerry Sizzler and Jerry Sizzler. I'm finding it right now.
Right.
It's crazy. It is crazy to me to think that like nobody says to Wendy that like we're on TV. You know we're on TV, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Like, why do you want to look like Ruth Gordon had a seizure? I don't understand. Like it doesn't it makes no sense. I mean,
Does she think maybe like she's like a superhero? I don't really know.
I don't know
Just
if you
sort of.
can see.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Like just kind of like smeared makeup, like oh,
Yeah.
it makes me insane. Sizzler and Sizzler right there. Um, and then we get that weird frenetic sewing montage, which always again gives me the anxiety because I know I would hurt myself with a sewing machine.
Yep.
And then we see Olga is already complaining to Kevin, and she says her dress itches because it's not lined. I don't think she means itches. I think she means scratches.
Yes. And what I think is funny is Kevin says, in his mumbly way, he said, "Well, the dress is itching her. Me, and I didn't have time to sew a lining into it because she wanted it fucking bedazzled, so there was no
Yeah.
time." Stupid bitch. I mean, honest to God, I mean, what do you fucking think? I mean, you're taking over the whole thing. And then he just says, but she's a model. She should be able to handle it.
Well, because here's the thing: is if these are like the type of bedazzled things where you have to bend in
Uh-huh.
the
The
metal
little
parts,
scratchy buttons. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, it wouldn't itch, it would scratch and it would
Yeah.
actually hurt. Because I kept thinking, why would she cry about it? I mean, it's one thing to be itchy, you're gonna be on the runway for 30 seconds, you wouldn't care. But if it was scratching you, you would
Mhm.
care. But that's the truth is that because she looks like she wanted heavy pieces.
Yes.
So I don't think they could be sewn. I think they had to be like literally like plunked in and
Yeah, and that's probably why the top is really, is folded
heavy.
over to give it more right, to give it
Yep.
more strength, so yeah, so I don't know, I mean, you stand there and you micromanage the guy, I mean, you get what you get.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say she really, I mean, as much as I feel like I get that that would hurt, I also feel like why isn't it possible for her to wear like a Spanx top or something like a flesh toned something, anything
But can you
that would
fucking
just cover up
put
that
masking
area.
tape on them
Yeah,
from
like,
the back end, you know?
I just feel like there's other stuff that could be done.
Yeah.
Um, so then we see the L'Oreal hair and makeup room, more frenetic sewing shots.
Mhm.
Olga is complaining again, says she wants to cry. And then I actually wrote, maybe don't ask for it to be covered in metal then. Um, and so, that's when she's pushing away the camera. And that's when Tim comes in and he has to actually tell them to stop
Yep.
because you can see they're like at Sleep No More at the bottom of the stairs, right?
Yes.
They're literally in a stairwell
They're bonkers. Yeah,
and
and
they're actually sewing
yeah,
while they're moving. They're sewing people into the dresses. I mean,
yeah,
that highlights just how little time they have. So,
yeah, like, up to the last minute.
and that's the thing. I feel like I don't know how they make anything in 2 days. That I have to give credit to every single one of them, even the crazy star. I mean, anybody who could make any type of garment that could be worn by a human being in a real sense in 2 days,
Yeah,
and it's I'm impressed.
yeah.
Um, so then we head to the runway show, and so we're reminded again that the winner of this challenge has immunity,
Yep.
and then we have our three judges. We have Michael Kors,
Mhm.
Anne Slowey, Anne Slowey Amsale,
Oh,
and then
Amsal is,
Amsal. Oh,
Amsal.
Amsal,
Yeah,
and then
she's
the
the
wedding dress
designer.
designer. Yes, I've never heard of her before. Had you?
Yeah, I remember her name, like, when I was, like, doing
When you were
wedding dress
looking?
shopping, yeah.
Did you get like a special something for your wedding?
So I had my specifications were, that I cared about the material. I didn't want, like, some satiny kind of thing. I wanted silk organza, which I actually is very expensive. I didn't know, but that's kind of what I went on. So I um ended up going to New York to a sample sale, uh, and like a bunch of different places trying samples. Because also like I mean, I was a real bitch. I like got married on a Sunday because it was cheaper. I mean, I just was like, I'm not paying full price for any of this. So
Right.
it was this French designer. It was like a couture dress, and it was really beautiful, but, it was a sample sale and, I was a lot smaller then. And, I just had to have it cleaned and,
Bullshit. Michelle's the same
took it like
size.
to like an all, I had some alterations done to it and a couple things fixed. And it was, really nice. And I remember at the time, it also came with this really cool shawl. And I think
Ooh,
we negotiated with them. It was these two Russian ladies who owned the store. I think I got it for $1,500.
wow. That is a very groovy deal.
Yeah, although it was 20 years ago, so I don't know what I don't remember a feeling though that it was outrageous because I remember I had
No.
friends who were buying $5,000 dresses. And I was
Yeah.
like, okay, it's actually like a really quality thing with, you know, it's what I liked and so I thought it was good. But to be honest with you, I tried on a lot of things and everything was nice. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I didn't have any dreams. I just, so
That's why I'm so surprised that so many of these girls have such specific thoughts. Even if their thoughts suck, I'm just stunned.
yeah.
Um, and so then we have the beginning of the show. We start off with Wendy. Um, I don't love it, but it's better than her usual dreck. What are your thoughts?
Oh, I hated it. I don't know, it was like, I don't know what
I
to
feel like
say.
it might be my favorite thing she's designed. I don't
It
like
was
any of
like
her work.
sort of Beetlejuice. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, it was very I felt like it would be the kind of thing if it was different colors that like somebody could wear it for like someone like a goth girl might want to wear it for like the prom or something.
Yeah. Yeah. I s I could see what she was trying to do, but she didn't do a good job.
Shock horror.
Yeah.
Not Wendy. So Nora says she's worried and with very good reason. It really does look generic, and she admits that there's more Melissa than Nora in the design,
Yeah. Yeah.
which we kind of knew.
Yeah.
Um, I love the so next is Roberto. I
Oh,
love the
like
bodice.
yeah, I thought it was really nice. The lace, yeah,
I thought that was so pretty, and then the idea of the tearaway skirt,
yeah.
um, I would love to see, like, another color. I almost would love to see, like, I don't know, I keep redesigning everybody's fucking work, but I'd love to see, like, a pale, like, an ice pink
Yeah,
or an ice blue on the skirt underneath for, like, the reception.
yes,
Something different.
that would be
Yeah.
cool. I think the only, when you get into, like, those colors, it tends to be, like, very specific on somebody's skin color. Do you know
Oh,
what I
true dat.
mean? Whereas,
Yep.
like, you get, like, this, like, ice pink and, I mean, they're cool colors, right? But
Right, in
it's
thought.
yeah, sometimes it just doesn't look good on everybody. Although maybe it would have looked good on just the skirt because it's not
Just the
really
bottom.
yeah,
Yeah, I almost feel like, yeah, I would have loved for it to have something more of a reveal. Like,
yeah,
I almost feel like if he had gotten together with Nora and there were some roses
yeah,
on something there,
yeah.
like, that idea would have been different. Um, and then Kevin, Olga looks bullshit, Michelle.
She's got tears in her eyes. She looks great though. I mean, her
Oh,
makeup
she
is
looks
done,
beautiful.
and
Yeah,
I thought the dress was really nice. I
same.
thought he was really tasteful with how he did the fucking bedazzles. I thought it was nice.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I feel like the dress isn't bad. It's just not that interesting,
No.
right? It was okay.
Yeah.
Um, so Karasan comes out, and I literally was like, "Whoa." I just thought the fit, the cut.
Yeah.
I mean, she's a pro and it's obvious.
Yeah.
It is
And such
so
beautiful
obvious.
details. Although
And the hair, everything.
I'm not a huge fan of that like super dipped down,
But
half
for like
naked.
tiny girls who have tiny busts,
I don't
I
know.
think it's gorgeous.
Yeah, I don't know. I just
Oh, I would
but
see. I secretly want one of those.
yeah.
I want that
She
body.
but it was beautifully done. It was really every and then I love the back had like a little ruching like just at the
Yes.
butt, so that it really fell really nice, which almost seemed like a theater thing to me.
You know what's funny? It did have a moment like on the back where it felt like it could have been like a costumey skirt from like a 17th century drama.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It had that, but I liked that because it kind of gave it a little bit of shape
Yep.
because the front was it felt like the front was angles and the back was curves.
Yes. Yes. Very
And it
cool.
just yeah, I thought it was just such a cool design.
Yeah.
Um yeah, I mean even the hair like I said so good. And so this is what I wrote for Austin. So or actually did you write anything like what was your initial reaction for Austin? Cuz I have something scary.
Gross burger. Heidi makes a face. That's what I wrote.
So I wrote Jesus H Christ. Dollar Tree Cyndi Lauper pooping fabric. Heidi's face is hilarious.
Dollar Tree Cyndi Lauper. That's good. Yeah.
But it really was. It was just to me. It seemed like like a aping Cyndi Lauper, but poorly.
Yeah.
Like not in a way where you could have taken her kind of kooky style and made it slick and polished.
Yeah.
It looked very much like it was a project,
Yeah.
like a craft
Just
project.
a craft project. Yeah. He went
Well,
to
you
the
know how we
store,
just said
with
with
shit.
exactly.
Yeah.
Like we just said with Kara's how it moved when she turned. We liked how it moved. Did you see with Austin's how it just sort of like spun around and it was looked like a net, a
Yeah.
fisherman's net that was just
Yeah.
so it really like I feel like stuff like that I'm starting to notice more because of watching the show. The fact that like Karasan's really moved well
Yeah.
and Austin's looked like she was just dragging a bunch of fabric that was attached
Yep.
to the back of her shirt.
Yep.
It just I'm starting to notice a lot of different stuff, but yeah, Austin's I thought was and I didn't see him at all in it. Uh,
Yeah. I was wondering. I really was curious. What was he going to pull together? And it was nothing. It was really far from what he has done.
and her styling was also I thought awful.
Yeah.
Um, and then Alexandra, and I don't know if this is going to be a hot take and people don't get mad at me about this because I think she's very talented, but all her stuff is starting to look the same to me.
It is. She's got this. Almost
It's
kind of like
nice, but
Great
yawn.
Gatsby is kind of
Yeah, like everything is a 20s dress for her.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I did think it was really nice. I thought it was beautiful.
Yeah, I said I wrote nice but yawn.
Yeah.
The model can't really walk in it.
No.
And then speaking of the model can't walk in it, it's
Okay.
Jay with Morgan who literally can't fucking walk in it.
So right, because at some point, like he wanted to take up the hem
Right.
because she was tripping over it. She like had a little hissy fit. But um I actually really like Jay's. I think he pulled off like the simplicity of it with like like a sort of sheer layer over the the bottom, like the base layer. And what I loved was it was really simple, but if he had just fixed the bottom a little bit so that she could walk and it moved better, he had this really awesome it just really leveled up the dress because it was just like feathers and sequins at the bottom. I don't know what it was, but I thought it was very cool.
Yeah, there was something about like, again, it looked like tangled fabric, where had it been, what, maybe 3 or 4 inches shorter, I think it
Yes.
would have been stunning because it felt
Yeah.
so chic.
Yeah.
Do you know what it felt like? Like Carolyn Bessette would have worn something like that.
Yeah, oh, exactly. Yes. And it's funny, I just read an article about her today. But very understated, but very
Yeah,
classic. And
chic.
she could have worn that she could have worn that today. She could have worn it 20 years ago,
Yep.
40 years ago. I mean, it's very, very classic. And what I love is that simple silhouette, but then the bottom like really leveled it up.
And you're
Yeah.
right, that sheer layer
Yeah.
was like, it almost gave a little bit of, like Audrey Hepburn-y, Grace Kelly vibe. It really did give it a vintagey feel because it could have gone Gap.
Oh yeah.
It do you know what I mean? It
Yep.
cou it cou
Yep.
it could have very closely, because I said it looks like it could have come from the Gap or it could have come from Oscar de la Renta.
Yeah.
Like, it's very close, and I think it's the way it's the styling too,
Yeah.
and I think you're right, I think it's the length. But that's a part where I was really disappointed in Jay because I felt like when she was giving him shit about making it shorter, I don't know why he just didn't look at her and go, "Okay," and then just go make it shorter. I mean, you're the designer, you just saw that the bitch can't walk in it.
Who knows, maybe he just had to go out and have a smoke, and just,
Yeah, I just
if she's that
I was
stressful.
surprised because I expect because he's very like, you know?
Yeah.
And so I was hoping that he would kinda, I mean, I hate to say it. I was hoping that this episode would be about Jay reining in Morgan. Like, I
Mm,
see Morgan as like
mm.
a runaway horse, and I was like, "Jay will break her."
Well,
But
let's see
that's
who picks Morgan next week,
right?
right? Yeah.
So so now we bring all the designers back to the runway now that the show is over,
Yep,
and we have Wendy, Robert, Alexandra, and Kevin. And we're reminded by Heidi that Kevin has immunity from last week,
yep.
and they're technically in the middle.
Yes.
So they are not the worst and not the best.
Mhm.
And it's funny. I was thinking about it, and I feel like Robert has never been in the top other than the first week, right?
Yeah,
I think
he's
every
just
other time he's kind of
middle of the
gone
pack.
down.
Yep.
And so yeah, so that was interesting. So then they leave, and then the models come back out. And so this is now, I love this part because I think we said it before. It's one thing for us to see the models moving on the runway and then leave and to make that quick judgment.
Yep.
It's another thing to have them on screen and be like, oh, right. They're not moving. They're showing us close ups of the fabrics, the fit. We're able
Yep.
to see everything in a way that we can't
Yep.
before. Um, and it's really cool because literally Heidi goes up and down and asks everybody if they like their dress. So Carasan's model, Jenny, loves her dress and says it made her cry.
Yeah.
Um, Morgan says she wanted sporty and classy, and I was like, "Yep." And that's what Jay gave her.
Yeah.
And then Melissa, Nora's model, says it's exactly what she wanted since she was a little girl.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
Julia, right, which has been 20 minutes ago. Julia, who's Austin's model, they ask, "Is this the dress you've always wanted?" Because they're prepared for her to be like, "Fuck no, fuck no." But of course, her answer is yes.
Yeah.
Right? So they all love their dresses, and Heidi is like, "So we have some happy brides?" Like,
Yeah.
she can't believe that
Like
everybody
4
likes
happy
them.
brides. Okay. Yeah.
And so, and I realize now how cool this must have been for her. Um, Michael Kors starts off, excuse me, by talking to Karasan and
Mhm.
saying how much he loves her dress.
Yep. It's in how it's perfect. It's good for
Yeah.
her, the fit's good, the move is good, it's everything is good. Yeah. Nice.
Yeah. And then Anne says to Jay, what do you like and not like about your design?
Yeah.
And then so he, like yourself, finds the issue with the bottom of the dress.
Yep.
And and then Anne says to Austin, what would you have done differently? And I'm thinking, please say everything. Please say everything. Salah hates it too.
Yes.
And they tell him he has to be responsible for his own vision. And I think that that is a pattern with Austin, right? I think that we have seen that repeatedly, and that even in a couple of episodes ago when they were doing their Banana Republic challenge, right?
He just kind of makes these things that come to his mind, but he can't really talk about how they relate to what you're supposed to be doing. There's something gets away from him always. I don't know how to describe
Yeah.
it.
I almost feel like if we think about, yeah, like if we think about that Banana Republic one when he made like the Bridgerton light
Yep.
dress, it
Yep.
was supposed to be for the holidays. And he saw, I think they had like a floral pattern there. And he just took that as his like literal inspiration rather than incorporating that as part of his own vision.
Yep.
And I think he's not, I think his creativity is almost like frenetic, it feels like. And I don't think he knows how to, at this point in the competition. And like I said, again, over a month, this is happening. So I can't, it's not like this is happening over 6 months and he's learning stuff. This is day by day by day.
Hmm.
But I think for him, this competition, it's been hard for him to like get his own ideas into whatever's happening. He's caught up in whatever that girl wants. So he made that for her, for Julia. He's caught up in Banana Republic, what he thinks they want. So he made what he thinks they want. You know what I mean? It almost feels like
Yeah.
it's not,
But
you know,
he can't create, he can't come up with like predictable results. I feel like I understand that things
I mean,
evolve
Little Bo Peep.
from start to finish, but I also think that at some point it runs away in this weird direction. And again, so that it's the difference between somebody who consistently puts out something middle of the road, but it's consistent, you know what you're gonna get. And then there's
Right.
Austin who some of it's fucking awesome, some of it's not, but so Austin's somebody who would like not be very employable in some situations.
Well, that's the thing. I feel like that he's not consistent. And I think you're exactly right. And I think that's the hard part. He's done some brilliant designs,
Yeah.
but like even his brilliant designs weren't on theme. Right, like, the Bo
Right.
Peep dress is gorgeous, there's nothing wrong with it except for it wasn't what the girl wanted to look like,
Correct. Yeah.
which she specifically told him, right? So,
Yeah.
I think that's part of it for him too, so, I feel bad, but, they really are, I think, giving him the tough love that he needs.
Yeah.
He needs to hear this. So then Michael Kors says to Nora, "What was the brief?" And basically says, she could find this at any bridal store.
Yeah. Yeah. Ouch.
Yeah, I mean, Michael Kors, you know he and Tim Gunn burn in the only the ways that they can. They're fucking
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Um, and then the judges chat. So they're dismissed from the runway. Um, and then so what we're seeing here is like, they're saying that Jay's is youthful, just like what we said, right? Sensual, comfortable. She looked radiant. I mean, and it's the kind of dress I think that so many women could wear too, right? Like I think it's a very marketable style
Yes.
dress,
And they
you know?
said that there was an intellectuality to it, which and I don't know how to interpret that, but I know what they mean.
Yes.
He really there's a lot going on for such a simple dress. And I don't
Yes.
think people realize, like, some people might my mother would see that and say, like, it's a rag hanging on her, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's a lot more.
Or it doesn't do anything for her.
Yeah. It
But
does
yeah,
a
I and that
lot. It doesn't do a lot. It does so little that it does so much. That's the thing.
who would also look gorgeous in this is, Christine, someone really tall.
Oh,
So,
yes. Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
so she has the perfect figure for that. But yeah, I feel like also too, like this is the kind of dress that especially with Morgan's figure. And I think that Jay is just good at dressing women. I
Yep.
think we saw that too in that beautiful dress he created at the Chrysler building on the
Yes.
bustier.
Yeah.
Like his fit is really good too. So of course then they talk about carousels and they say that it's gorgeous. The model's face lit up.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it really is. It's the dress in and of itself is again, I don't think it's as wearable as Jay's at all.
No.
But I think it's just, I mean, it's traffic stoppingly beautiful. If you
Yep.
were the bride and that was your figure and that's your style,
Yeah.
the pictures from that would be insane. And then of course they go to Nora and they hate it. And then Michael Kors says what we've been saying basically, right? She could have
Uh,
interpreted the model's idea for her dress in a more interesting way.
and that she
She
just
became a
turned
dressmaker.
a dressmaker. Yeah. That hurt.
These burns, these Michael Kors burns are,
Yeah.
they're very specific, but they're pretty good. And then we get to Austin.
Yeah. And he was steamrolled, basically.
Yeah, yeah.
But
And
see, I also don't think that he disliked being steamrolled. This is the problem.
yeah, I don't think he had a great like if I wish he had had more of a vision, more of himself
Yeah.
in this. I feel like he didn't really I think he was kind of lazy almost in the
Yeah.
sense that like he didn't really put any of himself into it.
No.
Um and then I just thought it was strange. He made really strange choices in fabric. Like
Mhm.
real like really strange choices. And then they bring them back and of course, we have those moments of terror. But very quickly, Carousel is announced as the winner. And so she is immune
Mhm.
for next week. And so Robert greets her backstage with a hug and seems genuinely happy for her. And then we hear that Jay is in. And
Yep.
then we are left with Nora and Austin.
Mhm.
And so they say that, hey, Austin, the dress doesn't look like a wedding gown. And they say to Nora, your client was happy, but you compromised way too much.
Your
Your own
vision.
design aesthetic.
Yeah.
And then we finally hear Nora is out.
Yeah. And
So
she
her
takes it
down,
very well. She takes it very well.
yeah, surprisingly.
Yeah. I think she may have had enough.
Yeah, I think she's a little too fragile. It's
Yeah.
funny because when we talk about her a little bit, but her downfall, they say, is the dress and not her. She's going to miss everybody. She cries a little bit. Um, yeah, I mean, I thought it was I think honestly she had an interesting style, but really couldn't handle the pressure of this. And knowing that if this is the fifth challenge, they've been there now for a week.
No, what I am unsure though why Austin is still in. Because I'm not really sure compared to everybody else. I'm not sure that he um
So I think what they're doing, I really do need my friend Megan on here, but I think what they're doing now is I think they are looking at everything. It's not just the design itself, it's like the finished work.
okay.
It's
Yeah.
like, you know what I mean? I think it's everything.
Yeah.
And I think that even like Nora's was just so generic and it didn't look very well put together. I mean,
No, the
uh,
top was like not laying straight and yeah.
that's the thing. So I think that's where we're at now. They're going beyond just is it a cool design or
Yeah.
does
Mhm.
it hit the brief? I think they're looking at stuff because I think that's also part of why people are winning.
Yeah. All right.
I think I I
I
think
see
that's
that. Yeah.
I feel like that a lot of times it's like the finish work, like something looks like a completed garment. And I think what's happening is what they're trying to say is, can you conceive of something that you could complete within that time?
Right.
There are many different versions of every single design.
Yeah.
Can you conceive of something that you could complete within 8 hours and then manage your time appropriately and execute it?
Yeah.
And so I think what's happening is in the beginning, which are only the first few days of the competition, people are not able to do that. Like they're looking at something and creating a design that would take 3 days to execute or
Right.
4 days to execute. And so they're not able to look at something and edit it down.
Right. Edit it down to like what can you get away with
Right.
with
Like
with yeah.
what can you execute well that will look
Yeah.
that, you know what I mean? And I think we have so many people in the middle because we still have so many contestants.
Yeah.
But I think starting next episode, it's going to be very, very interesting to see this small group of contestants start to really vie, um, start to really compete, get competitive, where they had their out, they're dancing, they had their good time, and now shit's gonna get real.
Yeah, yeah. I'm trying to think now who's left and where it's gonna go and who's gonna get tossed. Yeah,
It's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting. So how about we were both right that Nora was out. So we win that we win that category
yeah.
for once. How about Top Gun? What was your favorite Tim Gunn
Oh man,
moment?
let me just flip through my notes here because
There were so many great ones. And he looked fabulous in this
uh
episode in everything he
yes.
wore.
Except they were at the mood store and he says, wrap it up and just get in line to pay.
He's the best. He's the fucking best. He's like the best taskmaster because he makes it sound so good. You're just like, oh, that sounds like a great idea. I think I'll get in line and get ready to pay. Um, my favorite was the long ass look at Nora's
Uh-huh.
dress.
No
The
words, just a
long
look.
look,
Yeah.
just the look,
Yeah.
just thinking to himself, "Ah,
Yeah.
this is a full on mess. How am I going to help this girl?" And realizing I can't help this girl. Um, how about fashion faves? What was your favorite fashion of the episode?
My favorite I really love the bottom of Jay's dress. I know it wasn't executed to its
Mm,
best, but I just thought I the bottom just was so cool with that silhouette. And I love how he put the mesh over it because I remember
yeah.
thinking, what the fuck are you gonna do with the mesh? What are you doing? The
Yeah.
sequin mesh and all that, you know. And he had feathers in there. I swear he had feathers at the bottom, didn't he?
Yeah. Nothing felt overdone. Yeah. That it was very unusually tasteful for him.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was unusually tasteful. No, I agree. That was a beautiful, beautiful dress. My
Yeah.
favorite was Austin's colored clothes. I loved Austin's jumpsuit with the big tulle sash that he like kept carrying with him.
And then he had something with like an applique on the shoulder. Did you see
Yeah,
that?
they're
It was
just
like
the
a
most
brown
yeah.
sweater with
He has the
applique.
most beautiful clothes.
Yeah.
Austin, I don't care what he designs. His actual clothes are excellent.
Yeah. Yeah. He looks good.
And how about for next episode, who do you think is going to be out?
Having a real hard time with this, right? But I'm gonna say Robert.
God, what?
Yeah. I don't think he can handle himself. I think if he doesn't fuck somebody, he's not gonna stay in. And yeah.
No, Roberto, no. Okay, well, I'm not going to blaspheme in such a way, Michelle. I will not.
Okay.
I will
Okay.
not. I won't join you there. But I think it's going to be Kevin. I think it's going to be Kevin.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm about done. I think his clothes are just super boring. I realize he won the previous episode. I don't think his stuff is interesting.
No, no. And he travels in a garbage bag.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm like, and I don't think as Ramona would say, he stay class A, okay? Um,
Okay.
okay. So now we come to one of my favorite categories, which is whatever happened to and this week it is Nora.
Oh, okay. All right. What happened to her?
So Nora's last name now is Pagel. I'll show you a picture of her. She looks great.
Oh, she's cute. Yeah.
Yep, she looks beautiful. So she is from Metuchen, New Jersey. That's where she's living now. So it says that this is all from bravotv.com, by the way, that she made her debut in the first season of Project Runway at 21, unaware of the cultural phenomenon that lay ahead. Today, she's the creative director of Authentic Lifestyle Products in New York, advising and creating products for private and branded label apparel companies. So basically, she buys Sheree. Nora has collaborated with such major companies as, I'm kidding, Nora, as Champion Athletics, Target, Kenneth Cole, and Kendall and Kylie. She now resides in New Jersey suburb with her husband and two children. With a keen eye for trends, she aims to create affordable yet high quality garments, Almost 2 decades since her first appearance on Project Runway, Nora has returned to the show. She's part of the All Star season
Huh?
to showcase her ability to create stunning runway looks. She champions the idea that it's never too late to follow your own dreams aside from your daily work and life, and strives to show her kids that vision.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So Nora, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how she does on this season of Project Runway and see if she is going to be like Danielle Cardenas or if she's going to go all the way.
Yeah. Interesting, huh? Well,
Yeah.
yeah. All right.
Never heard of her, but yeah, this was a fun episode, Michelle. This one is, and they're going to start getting more and more competitive. I think this one was kind of fun to watch them interact with these models, and really, I think a lot of them got steamrolled.
I think
I,
so. Yeah.
I think even the successful ones. I mean, I think the only person who really didn't get steamrolled at all is Carousel.
Yeah. I think you're right. I think you're right. It's really hard, to it's what happens when you start giving in to everything the client wants is you don't make something good. That's what the
Yeah,
problem is. And you end up making caca. Um and I don't know how to describe it. So it's a weird place to find in yourself how you're gonna do it your way, but
yeah.
still make them look a certain way that they want to look. And you've got to make them agree with you, that what you're doing is good. It's hard.
I'm sure it takes a lot of, I'm sure it takes experience and time to be able to be that, self confident and self assured in your own design perspective.
Yeah.
To be able, I mean, and I even think about it in my own career, it takes a long time to feel confident enough to be able to push back in certain areas
Yep.
and to be able to say, like, no, 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 you're hiring me. I know best. Trust me on
Yeah.
this.
Yeah. Even
You know,
small things like,
yeah,
no, I know you want this material, but it's not going to lay the right way.
right.
Right. So
Or
that
like, I
kind of
know
thing.
you asked for roses, but let's not literally do roses.
Yeah.
Like, let's not literally dye roses, and let's also not pick a color that is the color of wine and then complain that it is actually the
hmm
color of wine. Yeah, I
Although
feel
I
like
think they were
that's
better than red would have been.
yeah, red would have been just way too literal. I
Yeah.
I just really wish she had done something where she had just used maybe some petals or some, like, I just felt like to use the whole thing made it look like, and I think that's why she was kicked off. It made it look like an arts and craft project,
Yeah.
and it felt a little bit too much like something that anybody could do in a sewing class.
Yeah.
I say this having never ever sewn anything except for a
Right.
button.
Me too. Right. And all my buttons fall
Please.
off.
Yeah, don't come at us. We don't do things. Oh, but this is really fun. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for listening.
Yeah. It was good. It was fun. And if you like us or you don't like us, rate us, review us anywhere you get your podcast. What do you think, Maria?
Yeah, tell your
Yeah.
friends, let them know, and we'll look forward to seeing you guys in the next episode.
Yeah. Cool.
Bye.